his head, all round his ears.
Flora's worried about Griffin.
I had a terrible feeling last night. I felt he was in desperate trouble.
He meddled in things men should leave alone. Not the slightest clue.
That's where the clues are. He wasn't leaving anything to chance.
There must be a way back. God knows there's a way back. Are you going to help? If only they'd leave me alone.
It's the stranger with the goggles. He's gone mad.
You're crazy to know who I am, aren't you? All right, I'll show you. Let me into your madness with your peering through the keyholes and peeping through the curtains. And now you'll suffer for it.
But why? Why do it, Griffin? Just a scientific experiment at first, to do something no other men in the world had done. Suddenly I realized the power I held, the power to rule, to make the world grovel at my feet.
You know who the Invisible Man is, Doctor. Where is Dr. Griffin? What's the good of concealing it?
Oh, come and stay with us. Let's fight this thing out together.
Police, quickly. The Invisible Man is in my house. He's mad. He's killed a man tonight.
Believe me, as surely as the moon will set and the sun will rise, I shall kill you tomorrow night. The secret of invisibility lies there in my books. Don't you see what it means? Power. Power to walk into the gold vaults of the nations, into the secrets of kings, into the Holy of Holies. Power to make multitudes run squealing in terror at the touch of my little invisible finger. Even the moon's frightened of me. The whole world's frightened to death.
I'll lay traps that even an invisible man can't pass. Radio stations now. Watch the wall. Help! Help! He's here! He's here!
Here we go, gathering nuts and may on a cold and frosty morning. Whoops!
Hello, welcome to Halloween Hump Fest. If you only listen to podcasts, you're really missing out right now because we have. Let me straighten your Invisible Woman. Let me straighten out your camera a little bit.
I'm sorry. What did you call me?
Let me introduce the show. Welcome to Movie Humpers. My name is Bob Sham.
My name is Angela.
Angela has taken a serum that has rendered her invisible. Therefore, she has to bind herself up. And if she took off those glasses and those bandages, you would see right through her. You would see the dusty board games we never play.
It would be so horrifying that you wouldn't be able to watch anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take it off because I want you to stay with us.
We're going to make this episode a full hour, and you are not allowed to take a stitch of that off so we don't scare anyone that happens to be watching the episode on YouTube. All right?
Okay.
But we know that when consuming the serum, it kind of makes you a little crazy, a little homicidal. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to keep an eye on you at the same time.
Look, I'm cool as a cucumber, Bob.
I can't read your expressions.
Well, you'll just have to trust me. Can you just trust me?
I can trust you.
Can you guys trust me? You don't know I'm looking in the camera. You can't tell.
Much like in the 1933 film The Invisible Man, directed by James Well, the weight of this recording is all on your shoulders, and I'm like the Gloria Stewart character in that I'm high build, but fairly meaningless to the overall story.
And also not in the original story. Just added. That character was added.
There's always got
to
to
have
be
a lady in the movie.
Always got to be some forced love interest at a certain period in Hollywood history, but that's the furthest I'll drag this movie, because for our Universal Monsters selection, we got our most homicidal fucking Universal Fiend out there. No one's going to match this guy's body count.
No way. And the scary high cackling.
It was horrible.
He is so into himself and thinks he's so brilliant and everyone else is so stupid.
Any moviegoer, even if you know a lot about him a little bit, maybe you've seen Casablanca or any of his other films, this film happens to be his first film in the U.S., but it is just a truth that Claude Rains is fucking amazing. One of the greats. And he chews up the screen with his voice and his mannerisms, and the only time you see his actual fucking face is when the character dies at the end of the movie.
He was cast based on the sound of his voice alone, which you have to be, but they couldn't figure out who was going to play this role. They were looking at famous actors, and no one could hit it the way James Whale wanted it.
When these movies were churning out and they were so popular, like Karloff was considered for every monstrous role, at least for a hot minute, and then other people would come in or he couldn't do it because he was doing something else. And he was considered for this role here. And as great as he is in like The Mummy and Frankenstein, like you cannot imagine this role with anyone other than Claude Rains.
No.
The movie is good because of him. And some pretty cool James Whale tricks. I haven't even read the cast list. Invisible Man, 1933, James Whale. Written by R.C. Sheriff, based on the story by H.G. Wells. Starring Claude Rains, Gloria Stewart, Dudley Diggs, William Harrigan, Una O'Connor, who plays the exact same character, but we still can't get enough of her.
Love her.
And Henry Travers, amongst others. Cinematography by Arthur Edison. The Invisible Man, a man in England, in Sussex. It's on a wintry night. He goes to a place. He needs a room so he can work on his experiments and
very important experiments.
Much like how Angela is right now, he's bandaged up with some shades on.
I don't have a cardboard nose like he did.
Oh, true.
But. Yeah.
But everyone, and it's assumed when you see him that he just had a really bad accident or something.
Absolutely. And I also understand why he is so adamant that he needs to be left alone immediately so that he can take his bandages off, because he is hot.
Yeah.
In there. It's hot. In there.
But he can't, much like you, he cannot take it off. He has to live
because
with,
when he
much
does,
like you, he has to live with the intention and he's got to see the bit through.
When Una sees him with the bottom half of his face off, she doesn't even realize what she's seeing because it's so incomprehensible to her that she just goes downstairs and says that he's ghastly.
Yeah. How would you describe that? You can see, I think she does say he's an invisible man at some point. But yeah, they go to confront him.
Later,
and they get police. He's been there a while. He's a little behind.
Remember that first night, though? She's like, he's a monster. And then it's weeks later. He's not paying anymore. He's being a monster for real.
So they get the police and they all confront him. And probably one of the best scenes in any Universal. And he's like, oh, you want to see me, huh?
You're crazy to know who I am, aren't you? All right, I'll show you. There's a souvenir for you. And one for you. I'll show you who I am and what I am.
Look, he's all eaten away.
And he starts to pull off his bandages, and he just starts cackling like a maniac and dancing around.
Like that.
He's also, it is said that, he's supposedly a good guy. This is a pre-code movie as well. That's a part of why it's so like good and bloodthirsty sometimes. But it's implied that he was a normal scientist guy who was in a relationship with Gloria Stewart.
With his boss's daughter.
And his old colleague.
Always are.
And his old colleagues. They kind of know he's out there somewhere, but they're trying not to give out the information that they know too much while the police are looking for an invisible man.
They get the feeling that it's him because they put together what he was working on. They know that they need to find him because he's gonna go crazy. Stop fucking laughing at me.
You should be laughing.
You think this is funny?
Well, you
do not want to make me mad.
All right, yeah, you're the formula has made her insane, but it's hard not to laugh at what you've committed yourself to here of wrapping your full face up. and watching you try to explain this movie. Again, folks, just if you only listen to podcasts, check the YouTube on this and just to take a quick look at her. Maybe we'll do all the Universal monster movies with you in that outfit.
No, thank you.
But the Invisible Man, he loses his shit. He takes in a helper. I forget the guy's name, but he takes in a helper who, understandably, gets away from him and tries to betray him first chance he gets, right?
It's his old lab partner.
Right.
So the two men were the assistants to our guy, Clarence, from It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
plays
right.
the head scientist.
Right.
And so he's like the daddy. And these two men work for him, and they're both were in love with his daughter, but she liked Claude Rains, that this other guy's trying to move in. And he goes to that guy's house, and he's like, listen, you have to help me. Stop fucking laughing at me.
The drugs I took seemed to light up my brain. Suddenly I realized the power I held. The power to rule, to make the world grovel at my feet. We'll soon put the world right now, Kemp. You and I. You mean I must have a partner, Kemp. A visible partner to help me in the little things. You're my partner, Kemp.
You
Right.
stop laughing at me.
Okay, I'll stop. I apologize.
You better watch out.
Whoa, did this move by itself? This Sharpie just flew at my head. At one point, he just goes on a hijinks tour, and everyone, the town is looking for an invisible man.
Because now he's power hungry.
But now it's this thing that could be there or couldn't be there, and no one knows how to find the invisible enemy. But this guy, they later say that this man has killed like 20 people in a search party. We watch him derail a whole train that they later say
100.
had 100 people on it. He kills the cop that doesn't believe everyone when they say they saw a man take off his bandages and nothing was there.
He shows up in front of the whole group and is like, "Oh, you don't believe in me?"
Yeah, and then he later kills his lab partner, who they fail in protecting him and trying to smuggle him out because, of course,
I went into the police station with you, Kemp. I stood by while you changed into that coat. I rode on the running board of the car that took you home again.
which explains why he has to find shelter or why he has to wear clothes.
Yes, because he goes through the list at one point of if the city is too sooty, because he went around trying to figure out where to be. If the city's too sooty, he'll turn gray.
The city's too sooty.
I can't remember the other examples, but anyway, there are ways. Oh, if it's too cold, you'll see his breath.
Yeah.
He also says at one point that he has to be left alone for 2 hours after he eats because you can see the food in his stomach.
That's an interesting detail. I would have liked to have seen that.
Incorrect.
Oh, you have experience, you know this?
I'm just saying that doesn't make sense to me. I guess he's saying until it's digested and becomes part of his body, but then it's not, like, you should also just see the feces hanging out in his butt.
That would be cool too.
And the smoke, he smokes at one point. You don't see it go up in his lungs. Come on now.
Well, it also doesn't make sense that he has a formula that makes the light not refract in other people's eyes.
Oh, right.
That also doesn't make sense.
One of my favorite parts is when he goes to bed at the guy's house, because it's before he goes on his rampage, or maybe he has been going on a rampage, but he's going to sleep and he takes off. He's just in pajamas. So his hands are invisible and his head is invisible, and he's laying in the bed sleeping. And they're talking about how, oh, he could be here, he could be there. And it just keeps cutting back to him just sleeping in the bed.
Yeah.
So when he's out there causing the most chaos,
they
don't know he's there. But when they're on the lookout for him, he's just like, I'm sleeping, you guys.
Yeah, there's some cutaway humor here as well. And it actually lands pretty well. This movie it's quite dark and also has a nice sense of humor to it.
It does. It's also they really do try to be smart about ways to catch him. They have nets where they'll sweep the room to make sure that he's not there. And maybe he's not in that room at that time, but he's right around. I mean, he could be right in the doorway and you wouldn't know.
That's the thing about the Invisible Man. He could be anywhere.
Anytime they were like, this room is clear, we're safe, I was like, there's no fucking way.
Well, he does have to escape some cold weather. He does meet up with Gloria Stewart at some point.
He didn't remember her until she showed up.
Yeah, that's how kind of gone he is. But he's killed people at this point, and she kind of doesn't care. She kind of covers for him, right?
She wants him back because she knows that he's being affected by the serum, and she knows it's not really him.
She wants him. He's trying to find a cure no matter how crazy he is. The shit's too heavy. He's fully being chased for the majority of the movie, and he rests in a barn, and an old farmer who has heard about the Invisible Man pieces together that the snoring sound and what he feels in the hay is probably him.
He shows up to the police office and he says,
Excuse me, sir. There's breathing in my barn.
What do you mean, breathing in your barn?
In a fairly anticlimactic scene, they do manage to converge and get a shot off.
Because it's snowing, so they can see his footsteps and the snow hitting him.
So he takes a shot, and then the movie ends on them talking about him.
I knew you would come to me, Flora. I wanted to come back to you. My darling, I failed. I meddled in things that man must leave alone.
Father, come quickly.
And how he was it seemed like he died slow, but when upon his death, then his true form came back. And that's when we see Claude Rains. We've seen him do amazing acting and not seeing any visible expression from him, just his voice and his movements. And then we see his actual face, and he's just playing a corpse there. But it also is really cool how did they do the effects here?
So any part of him that they wanted to be invisible in that moment, so if his hands are showing, he would be covered in black velvet. So he had like black velvet gloves and pants and shirt and like hood. They would film him in front of a sheet of black velvet. So that when you're doing the picture of him, you'll notice they kind of cut his image out because there is an outline around his head. But what's so smart is you notice, once you know that, if you look at scenes, when you can see through him, it is always naturally a black background.
Yeah, you can kind of see his profile sometimes.
You can kind of see his profile, but they're really smart in that they don't have to try to also cut that part out too. You know what I'm saying? Like that, unless he's moving around quick or running or something. It's just so well done.
It's super creative.
For the fucking time? Are you kidding me?
This movie's so much fun. But I had a suspicion, because this is the first time we finally got to this. We wanted to watch this movie for a bit. And we like James Whale anyway. And we like Claude Rains, so we knew we were probably going to really like this movie.
Claude Rains was the Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
Science fiction.
So I won't say I'm pleasantly surprised. I feel like this was as fun as I thought it would be. The Mummy, I was probably a lot more pleasantly surprised with that one, because it ended up feeling a lot deeper than I kind of expected there. But yeah, this one, it's good. I think this is a really, really fucking good movie.
This is one of the better ones. I really liked Creature also. I think comparing those three, The Mummy is at the bottom of that list for me.
Okay. All right.
I didn't dislike The Mummy, but there was just something about this one and Creature from the Black Lagoon that I liked more.
I think there was there was a relationship aspect in The Mummy that I kind of latched on to. And the way that those actors connected, I thought kind of brought it to the next level. Creature from the Black Lagoon has some fantastic technical sequences. All the underwater stuff is like 5 stars, but everything else is just kind of like a regular B movie. And this one It's just Claude Rains without ever actually seeing him carrying an entire fucking movie.
Absolutely.
But the writing here and the timing and the humor also works out really well.
Are we ready to rate this movie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's a 5.
Oh, you're a 5?
I love this movie.
Well, I'm not under a 4.5, so it's an S tier movie.
I obviously loved it. I want to be it. Although invisibility is not the superpower I would choose.
So check it out, folks. It is made S tier. I think The Bride of Frankenstein. The Bride is like a 9. It's really up there, but it's not S tier.
Bride should be S tier.
There's some flaws there, but it is a lot of fun. But The Invisible Man by James Whale from 1934 is an S tier movie. It's between The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years, that documentary. That's the only one in the Decline series that's S tier. But part 1 is also very good, just not quite S tier. And it's between that and The Killing by Stanley Kubrick. So yeah,
so good.
I mean, I think it is appropriate ultimately because The Invisible Man was very groundbreaking for its time. Much like you are groundbreaking, you are breaking ground right now.
I am breaking the ground.
So, what superpower would you pick? You said you wouldn't pick invisibility. What would you pick?
Teleportation, and I'm okay if it has to be places I've been before or something like that. But I would like to be able to be like, I want to go to the Indian restaurant right now.
Yeah, true.
I want to go to work right now. I want to be home immediately.
Maybe like the Wolverine healing factor kind of thing.
That would be cool.
It would slow your aging down. Who knows how long you would live.
You know, I would also very willingly be a vampire. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill anybody, but the aspect of being able to live for a really long time is very intriguing to me.
Before I'm a vampire, just let me like work out a lot or do like 4 months of Ozempic or some shit, and then you can turn me. I mean, really, just make me Superman, you know? I'll take that. Invisible Man, S tier. Check the show notes for links to other places to find us.
You better check them.
Halloween Humpfest rolls on. We continue tomorrow with our John Carpenter Tuesdays selections, where we discuss John Carpenter. Those are fun. All right, settle down. Claudia Rains over here. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think about this James Whale classic. No one kills more than this guy. 122 dead in this movie.
This is a fucking serial killer.
He is. He's fucking dangerous as hell. But let's get out of here.
Happy Halloween.
Claude Rains was the Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.